Hello everyone, I am Dev and today we will see HTML and CSS. Yeah, I know you must have heard about HTML and CSS a lot more time, but again I believe I will be able to add some extra knowledge or extra information in this video. So you all might already be aware where do we use HTML, or even if you're watching me live right now, there is some part of HTML and CSS involved in that technology. If you want to become a web developer, I think HTML and CSS are very basic things which we should all know. So let's dive into it. Before moving on, let's see how it was built. So HTML was introduced to the world by well-known physicist Sir Tim Berners-Lee between 1993 and 96, but he started his development on it since 1989. He is currently serving as the director of World Wide Web Consortium, which is also called W3C, which is basically an institute which oversees the continued development of the standards for the World Wide Web and all related technologies. Now, hypertext markup. It's a language for documents to be displayed on the web browsers and to link them with the different documents and pages with each other. Once these documents are linked, he also developed a protocol which we call it as HTTP, which means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Protocol is generally a set of rules which is sending these HTML documents over to the network by following the HTTP protocol. So again, currently if you're using this, you might be having the HTTP version 2, and maybe soon we will be upgraded to HTTP 3, which will give us more faster network and more secured ways, which is again developed and monitored at W3C. Hyper means above, something more than text. So hypertext means like the text which does more than the text, and it gives more things to be connected on the web pages. For example, nowadays, along with the text, we see that the different documents are also the part of the web pages. Different documents like file types as images, sounds, videos, etc. So in current world, it can also be called hypermedia in place of hypertext. But as it was named as hypertext, we will go with the hypertext, because we have all the different types of media which continuously form a web page. On an HTML page, we observe that our text is marked up or enclosed between different elements of HTML, which are generally called as tags, which we will see in a bit, because we need to learn the tags in order to create our pages. But let's see why HTML. So this is just my theory. I believe why HTML is like this, because if you go back in time machine and see that maybe between 1980s and till 1990s, where many of the big tech companies have released their first operating systems, be it Apple, be it Microsoft, or maybe different operations or different upgrades done in the Unix system. During those times, it was very hard, or these different operating systems applications were not compatible on each other. So for each application or each operating system, we need to create a new application. So I believe at that time, maybe we need a system which will effectively understand the language which is used to communicate between these different systems easily and effectively with the help of a simple tool, which was a browser. So along with all these technologies, a browser was also developed, and a markup language is the way that one computer speaks to each other with the help of a tool, which is browser. This browser is what controls the text which is processed and presented on the screen. This is just my idea. I'm not sure what exactly was there, but I believe so. Looking at the history when the things were not connecting or talking to each other, maybe this was the reason why we have a markup language and not a scripting language which is read by the computer system. So a markup language which is having different tags, and those different tags are then interpreted by the browsers and presented on the screen. Now, as we saw, HTML is since 1990s and even more earlier than that. So, of course, if we are still using it, there must be a lot of upgrades or changes which must have gone into it. And now we are also talking about HTTP 3, which will even make it more faster and secured. But do you know that when initially HTML was developed, it was only used for one way of communication? And even the HTTP protocol, if you're a developer, you must know we have different protocols like get, put, post. And initially when this protocol was made, the first protocol was the get protocol, which is only to fetch the information or the page, web page. And this period was roughly around 1990s and 2004, where mostly the website were static websites, or majority of the users were just consumers. They were just reading the information, either news websites or something. And this was where the HTML evolved from HTML version 1, HTML 2 to 3 to 4. And this is also sometimes, or right now, this is also referred as Web 1.0 era. In 2004, development began on HTML5 as well in the Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group, which is also called WHATWG, which became a joint deliverable with the W3C in 2008, and they completed and standardized it in late 2014. So currently, if you're watching this HTML page, this is of course with HTML version 5. Of course, with different versions, we have new additions of tags, different way to write the pages, and at the end to make the user experience to the best. So with constant new updates, the era of user-created contents came with the forums, social media, blogs, etc., which is considered to be as Web 2.0. And this era started somewhat about 2003 or 2004 and which continues till today. And I'm sure you all must have heard about the new development of Web 3.0, which we all are waiting. And what this will bring to all of us in near future, we are not sure. But of course, the technologies like decentralizations and blockchains technologies are being worked on, and maybe we get a new flavor which will be termed as Web 3.0. So that was a small history or small details about HTML and its thing. Now let's get back to our HTML and see how we can create our own web page and what all things we do need for that. So now we will move on to HTML itself, and for that you will need basically three things. First is a browser, because HTML will be interpreted by a browser, and I'm sure you must have the latest and active updated browser. So for my demo, I will use the Chrome browsers. You are free to use any of your favorite browser for that. For code editors, I will be using Visual Code, which you can download from Visual Code download, and it's very easy. Just double click depending on your operating system, and you will be ready to go. And the third thing what is required is dedicated time to start on this journey. I know you all have seen and watched a lot of these tutorials, but I'm sure I will be able to add some more extra benefit, some more extra knowledge to overall learning. So let's move into the code editor and fire our Visual Code to start writing and understanding more about the HTML tags.